yeah, no fun preamble today. Howdly doodly, and how do you doodly? All right, I'm a bit tired. I'm having that caffeine crash right now, but y'all still gotta stay humble when you're around the king of fumble. I'm gonna tell you something. This is a bit more abstract. I don't know if you can hear that, but people need to buy mufflers. This is a pretty abstract little video. It's just my biggest questions about every division, you know? So it's not necessarily going to be stuff like, oh, who's next? Like some of the questions are going to be like that. Sorry, I dropped my AirPod. But like, I'm hoping that we can maybe get some thought-provoking conversation, maybe do a Socratic seminar or some shit with this, man. Man, I'm so tired I haven't censored myself. I'm sorry about that. Moving on. Women's strawweight. What's up with Jessica Andrade, man? Like, we're having Zhang Weili versus Amanda Lemos tomorrow, so I don't want to ask a question about that. But, like, man, you're in the top 10 of two divisions now. Strawweight and flyweight, like, I just don't know what's happening with Andrade. I don't know what I would do if I were her, because she's kind of gone flippy-floppy in each of them. Like, she's lost to Tatiana Suarez, she lost to Yan Xiaonan, but she's also lost to Erin Blanchfield. Like, pick one and stay there, because, I mean, you know what? I don't mind it too much, I guess, because she does actually fight pretty often. But if I were her, I'd pick a place and stay there. Or make a 120-pound division just for her. No, don't do that. Flyweight. Why, Rose? So look, it's a bit more of an abstract question, but like, I'm kind of wondering why Rose is going to flyweight. She doesn't necessarily have a reason to stay at strawweight, I guess, but she also doesn't have a reason to leave, in my opinion. So you know what? It's an interesting move. I checked the frame, and Rose and Manon Fiorot have the same reach, 65 inches. But I'm a bit nervous about what happens later on, because we're all still traumatized from Rose versus Carla, that being, I think, the last time that Rose fought, aside from, like, I think she did a grappling thing recently, but in UFC, the last time she fought was Carla Esparza 2 in the worst women's fight of all time. So I'm kind of curious about what happens if she wins. If she loses, like, what's going to happen, man? Is she going to go back down to strawweight if she loses? Is she going for champ? Is she staying at flyweight? Is she going back down to strawweight? I feel like her and Andrade right now are becoming variables, and there's just too many variables at flyweight now, you know? So the entire division is gone? You done? Nah, I'm just kidding. But I don't know. I'm a bit nervous to see what happens with Rose, because I don't think we want to see Rose as double champ. I mean, if she wins the belt, like how she won the belt before, then I don't mind it. But she's a split decision merchant, as I talked about in my first ever UFC video. I'm nervous. I'm not sure if I'm excited, but we'll figure it out. We'll get through it together, guys. Bear with me. Women's bantamweight. Who are we going to disregard? We have three people who we could consider to be number one contender-wise, and we're going to go ahead and go through them, because I think it's Juliana Pena, Raquel Pennington, and Mayra Bueno Silva. I don't think you can include Ketlin Vieira, because Pennington beat Vieira in her last fight. I'm going to check when that was right quick. So Pennington beat Vieira in the 14th of January, 2023 by split decision. So they all fought in the year, I think. Did Juliana fight this year? I'm sorry, I'm just checking this right now. Yeah, Juliana's been the most inactive of the bunch because, you know, she took a lot of damage. Here's what I would do. Personally, Juliana Pena, she's becoming a bit of an anti-icon, where she has all these takes. She's booing Amanda Nunes during her retirement. And Mayra Bueno Silva finishes fights. I would go with Pena versus Bueno Silva. That would be the fight I'd most want to see. And then Raquel Pennington could get the winner of that. I figure, why not? Because we're getting Bueno Silva. I think she fights for the belt next. I don't think she needs another contenders fight. And the next fight's going to be for the vacant belt. So I think Pena versus Bueno Silva makes the most sense from like an excitement standpoint. It's probably going to be Pena versus Pennington, though, because the world is cruel. Excuse me about that. Flyweight. What are we even doing? Oh, this is... No. This is featherweight. Sorry. What are we even doing with featherweight? I meant to say featherweight. Sorry. Yeah, don't know what we're doing. I don't think anybody knows what we're doing. Let's just scrap the division. I think we only have Norma Dumont. So let's just make her the champion and cut it, I guess. I don't know what to do with featherweight. Oh my gosh. I really am tired, guys. I'm sorry. It's been a day. Flyweight. Who's next? This is my biggest question. It's not super abstract, but let's go ahead and run through our little list here. Moreno's lost to Pantoja 3 times. I don't want to see that fight again. So let's go ahead and disregard Moreno. He's going to turn into Holloway again. Figueiredo, we don't know what we're doing with him. He could be going to bantamweight to fight Dominic Cruz. He could be staying at flyweight because he was going to fight Manel Kape. I don't know what he's doing, so I'm going to disregard him too. I think Figgy versus Pantoja would be a fun fight, though. Amir Albazi, my boy, last time I'm going to talk about him, his last win was questionable, but he's number 3. So what do we do with him? And then Brandon Royval got a beautiful knockout against Mateus Nicolau, I think his name is. A huge, beautiful knee punch. My God, it was beautiful. I watched it live. It was so beautiful. What do we do with him? Because I think he deserves some respect. So at the moment, if Figgy's going to bantamweight, the number 1 contender is Amir Albazi. But Royval got that KO. And I don't want to see Moreno fight again. I don't want to see him fight Pantoja again because he's lost him 3 times. It's like Izzy Pereira, you know? So my pitch is probably going to be Pantoja versus... You know what? Amir Albazi. Last time I'm talking about him. Bantamweight. What happens if Aljo wins? There's 2 ways you can go with it. He's either going to vacate for Merab or he's going to go for champ. And I don't think it's going to be... I think it's going to be one of those 2. I think it's a risky move that could put the division in like sort of a standstill because if he goes up, there's going to be an interim belt. If there's an interim belt, that means that he and whoever is the interim champion are going to fight. My personal theory, I would if I were Aljo, I would not vacate the bantamweight belt. If I win, I would fight Volkanovski and whoever has the interim bantamweight belt, which I'm going to say is Merab. I would, if I get the featherweight belt, I would vacate the bantamweight belt and have Merab be promoted. If I lost, then you have to fight Merab, so you could always just vacate the belt, I guess. I don't see what happens. I don't know what happens. I'm a bit nervous because it's like convoluted and all that stuff. This was recorded before Aljo fought O'Malley, though, so Sean can be champion and we're all good. Featherweight. What do we do with Holloway? Like, he's fighting TKZ, which I don't know why, right? TKZ got destroyed by Volkanovski, and I think he wants to look at retirement soon. But, like, I just don't know what to do with him. Should he move to lightweight? He lost to Dustin Poirier pretty badly. Like, it's tough with Holloway. I feel like he's in a big lose-lose situation where at his natural, most proficient weight, he's lost to Volk, and I think he continues to lose to Volk. And it's just going to be rematches, man. I think only Yair Rodriguez and Brian Ortega make sense. I think Ilia Topuria fights for the belt next. I don't see how you can argue anything else. I don't want to see Holloway Volk 4. So I think it's Volk versus Topuria, and if Topuria wins, which is best case scenario for Max, you fight Topuria. That's what I would personally have done. But I just don't want to see TKZ lose too badly. I have Holloway winning, but I would love it if TKZ won. Lightweight. Are we defending the BMF belt? How does this work? We haven't discussed the rules of this. Now, if it were me, right, I would have the BMF belt be open weight. I would have it be you can defend it at any weight class that the champion wants, because why not? Now, here's what I would do. My dream booking would be Justin Gaethje going up to 170 and fighting Gilbert Burns. That would be sick. It's probably going to be Gaethje versus McGregor for the BMF belt, which is fine too. And then McGregor can fight at like 185. You do what you're told. Like, he'd maybe fight at 185 or 170 or whatever he wants to do, because, you know, the champ does what the heck he wants. And I'm wondering if Gaethje and Islam fight. And Islam wins, is he going to be champ? Like, it's so flip-floppy. And I don't know what to do. I don't know what to think about the BMF belt, because it's just a prop right now. It's not defended. It has no legacy. The legacy is Jorge Masvidal, Dwayne Johnson, and Justin Gaethje, and Nate Diaz too, and that head kick to Dustin Poirier. I'm nervous. I want to see the BMF belt defended, but at the same time, is it really worth it? Like, why are we doing this? Welterweight, who should Shavkat get next? I love Shavkat, so why not? I don't know why he was going to fight Kelvin. I don't know what he has to gain by fighting Kelvin, because if he wins, he wins. If he wins by decision, then he loses that amazing no-decision win streak. If he loses and he's kind of derailed, he had nothing to gain from that fight, in my opinion. So he needs to get Usman versus Shavkat, man. I'm just telling you now. He scratched the UFC's back a bit, you know, by taking Kelvin. I wouldn't have taken Kelvin if I were him. I would have insisted on fighting up. I think it should be Kamaru Usman versus Shavkat Rakhmonov. No questions asked. I think it makes the most sense. I don't think it should be Bilal. I don't know. It's either Usman waits to fight Colby if he beats Leon, or he fights Bilal Muhammad. I think Shavkat's a more interesting fight that would put him back into title contention. It would make Usman look like a world beater if he beat Shavkat, in my opinion, because Shavkat just is unstoppable right now. I think that it makes sense for Usman to fight Rakhmonov. I don't think the Kelvin fight made any sense at all. I wouldn't have booked that. I wouldn't have accepted it if I were Shavkat. But you know what? Because Shavkat did accept it and Kelvin pulled out, let's do Shavkat a favor. Middleweight. What happens if Sean wins, dude? I want him to win so bad because he's the least marketable UFC champion. Because he's so unfiltered and unhinged that he'll say whatever he wants. And I love that about him. Who doesn't love that? His press conferences are bangers, dude. I don't know if the UFC wants him as a champion. Like, Adesanya versus Dricus is going to be the money fight because of all this tension between them, which I don't want to get into. I don't know if they think Strickland's an easy win. I don't know if this is because Strickland fought Abus Magomedov. You know, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Because some people argue that Strickland beat Cannonier, which, you know, sure. So maybe it's one of those things where it makes more sense if you think about it in that light. But I want to see the world burn, so I want Sean to win this fight and be the new UFC middleweight champion. Round 3, rear naked choke, rubbing my hands together, conducting a seance, light heavyweight. What's going to happen? It's a simple question. I think it should be Pereira versus Ankalaev, and then the winner gets either Yuri or Jamal, depending on who comes back first. I don't think you do Yuri versus Jamal for a vacant belt. I don't think you do Yuri versus Jamal as a contenders fight. I think you have to sort of do it as they come back, as they sort of filter back into the division. And if they both come back at the same time, then one of them gets Ankalaev, one of them gets Pereira. Why not? Maybe Johnny Walker for some reason. Why not? If I were there and I were booking these matches, which I totally should, by the way, I would have it be Pereira versus Ankalaev. Then whoever comes back, comes back. Whoever wins, I think Pereira would be the best possible champion because he's a recognizable name and would get a lot of eyes. And then if Izzy comes up to light heavyweight to fight Pereira again, then that's another money fight. Boom, we're good. Pereira makes sense. Yuri makes sense. Jamal makes sense. I think my personal preferred order, Pereira at the top because of the money, Yuri because I like him the most, and Jamal because I want to see him succeed. Heavyweight. What's going to freaking happen after Jones and Stipe fight? Is it going to be a double retirement? Are neither of them going to retire? I think Stipe at least retires no matter what. I think Jones should retire no matter what because he's just beaten the greatest heavyweight of all time. I think Jones retires. But wait, I just want to say something right now. I don't think Jones beating Stipe makes Jones the best heavyweight of all time. And I think if you argue that, then you're wrong. I think that's a wrong opinion. But I think that the up-and-comers, they don't need another fight for the belt. I don't think Aspinall needs another fight. Maybe he does. I don't think Sergey doesn't need another fight for the belt. I don't want him to fight. I don't want Aspinall to fight Sergey because that makes sense. I want that to be for like a vacant belt. And Gon's fighting Spivak, and if Spivak wins, then Spivak Aspinall's already happened, and Spivak Sergey is the battle of the Sergeys, and I don't want to see that right now. I think if Jones and Stipe double retire, put their hands up together, and walk off into the sunset, it's just the best for the division. And I think it overall makes sense that the number one contenders fight, the championship fight would be Sergey Pavlovich number 1 and Tom Aspinall, who's number 4. I don't think Ciryl gets another fight yet. I don't think he fights for the belt yet. I think he needs to beat Spivak definitively, and then he needs to be like the person that fights after Pavlovich Aspinall. Do you agree with any of my observations? Was I just waffling the entire time? Let me know in the comments. I think this was a pretty fun video to make. It was pretty abstract, so hey, hopefully you enjoyed. Have a good day. I'm very tired. I'm going to go take a nap, go get some dinner, and dippity, woohoo.